Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Ite Namani.
And the first time I saw Srila Prabhupada was probably that year. Either that year or 72, LA airport. And all I remember is I thought to myself as it all happened, it must have been some kind of ploy, because we were out there, 100 devotees with great anticipation, waiting for him to come around the corner of the concourse. And I think they planned it this way. Every single other person on the plane exited. And as every new face came around the corner, we thought, no. So we were being built up for this grand finale when finally Prabhupada came. And he literally sort of peeked around the corner of the concourse hallway and just sort of gave a little wave and a salutation with his hands, and then walked out. And of course, naturally after that, the crowd went wild. So that was the first time I ever saw him, and I was amazed at his... I expected, from all the anticipation that had built up, a very large, a 6-foot man with broad and with a great presence. And of course the presence was there, but it wasn't physical, because he was much smaller than I expected. So when he first came around the corner, and there's a head pops out around the corner, it's sort of a playful little look. But the head was like 1.5 feet lower than I thought it would be. So he pops his head around the corner and actually gave a playful wave before coming around with his hands like this. So it may have been his plan to keep us all in anticipation and heighten the ecstasy, and it worked quite well. But that was the first time I saw him, and I thought, he's smaller than I expected, but of course by that time I was face down on the airport carpet and wasn't thinking about much else. But I think he was smaller than I expected, but no less regal, no less of a presence. I was, as everybody else, I was half dazed at the moment.
My first impression of Prabhupada, because I had read his books, and as opposed to all of the other Bhagavad Gitas that I had read from all these yogis and swamis, Prabhupada was very clear, very precise in the way he explained about Krishna, God, the personality of Godhead, the nature of the soul. It was very convincing, because I had read various versions of Bhagavad Gita. Even I read the entire Rig Veda in French by some Sanskrit scholars. But it was not appealing. It was not convincing. But Prabhupada's teaching, Prabhupada's book was so potent. Prabhupada's words in his book really touched the soul. So when I first saw Srila Prabhupada in New York, it was almost incredible to link this person in his presence. His real spiritual potency was there. And I had read these teachings, and I saw him. It was like Prabhupada, the attraction he had was like a magnet. He was able to really channel the slightest spark of sincerity and bring it to Krishna.
So 3 days later comes along, and I move in the temple. And the day before Srila Prabhupada arrives, we go to San Francisco Airport, and I see his airplane coming in, TWA jet. I immediately almost faint, I think. I cry, and I don't know why. Now I understand, of course, the reason why I was crying is because I hadn't seen him in so many lifetimes. And I wasn't aware of that then. And when all of a sudden I started everybody getting on their hands and knees, and I thought to myself, oh my God, what would my family think of this? Here I am on my hands and knees. And I looked up, and there he was. Oh, well, needless to say, my life did change from that moment. I was initiated the next day. I was initiated the next day. Hey, everybody's getting initiated. I said, Tamal, don't you got to get initiated too. I said, okay. It's like, joining the country club or the fraternity. I don't know what it meant. So I was initiated. He gave me the name Sudama. That next day after that, he called me to his quarters. Govinda was his head secretary and servant, along with Purushottam and Kartikeya. So I went to have darshan, my first darshan with Srila Prabhupada, and he asked me what he had named me. And I reminded that it was Sudama, and he asked me, what do you do, Sudama? And I said, I'm an actor and a dancer from a very famous dancing and acting family. His eyes lit up and he went, oh, I played Hamlet once in Calcutta. And he handed me a play that Hayagriva had just written. It had to have been this thick, much too long, on the life of Lord Chaitanya. So he gave me the play, says, I want your opinion. Come back tomorrow. Oh, jeez, I wasn't, this big, this thick. So I went back the next day, and the first darshan instructed me, you do not have to change anything. In fact, he said to communicate through creativity affects the heart of people.